Hello and welcome to another episode of The Holistic Way. My name is Todd Hart. Welcome to the show. And I'd like to welcome our guest, Mary Jo.
Hi.
Is it MJ or Mary Jo? What should we?
I get called both Mary Jo and MJ.
Okay.
You say, hey, you, I'll probably turn around, so.
I love it. So why don't you introduce yourself, tell us what you do, and welcome to the show.
Thank you. My name is Mary Jo Guadalupe. I'm an intuitive medium. I'm also a Reiki master and use different modalities. My website is tranquil-turtle.com, and we were speaking about the reasons for the turtle.
Right. Yeah, tell us about that, because I thought it was a pretty good story. It's a great website. It's tranquil-turtle.com. And what is the significance of that?
I work with heaven and earth. Everything I get is either from earth energies or heavenly energies. And the turtle represents, in many different cultures, the earth, but it also represents the Blessed Mother in a way. Oh, so cool. It's both. I think when I started to open up, I decided on the turtle because I felt safe hiding in a shell. And now it's more the tranquil turtle's got to come out of the shell.
Oh, I like that.
So it just has a lot of symbolic meaning to me. Very
cool. So what kind of things do you do? You said mediumship, you do Reiki. What else do you do?
I do, I do all that. I work with animals.
Okay.
I do animal Reiki. I do animal communication. I'm an intuitive healer, so to speak. I do cranial temporal activation, which is CTA, which works with, again, the angels and guides. And it's about working with your pineal gland and your thymus and all your glands in your system and kind of retraining your brain and your DNA.
I always like to ask people when they discovered they had these gifts. So was it when you were a child? I know we were talking a little bit before the show started.
When I was a child, I did see, feel, but society, some of my family, they're like, shh, no. So you kind of tuck it away and you kind of forget, but it comes out in many other ways when you're trying to tuck who you really are away. Right.
So you kind of kept it hidden quiet for a while. When did you get back into it and really decide to open the box and say, hey, I want to really know who I am and what I do?
It was slow and gradual. Like as a teenager, I started, I teach dream classes. So I started dream journaling. I was getting some really wild dreams. Dreams are phenomenal to me. So I started journaling because what I couldn't say outwardly was coming out in my dreams. And I was getting messages in my dreams, and I still do. So then I kind of was like, oh my God, you get a little nervous. And then about 5 years ago, I met Jessica Kozak, the owner of The Soul Purpose. And I sat down for a reading with her, and she was like, are you aware? And I was like, I am, but how are you? And slowly but surely, she was teaching classes. I took some. She became my friend and my mentor. I was very lucky to meet her. I wouldn't have found me if I wouldn't have found her.
So did she help you fine-tune your abilities?
Yes.
And kind of uncover them and discover what you can do with them?
Correct.
Wow.
I've had a lot of great teachers.
Nice.
I think everyone I meet is a teacher.
I think
in some way, shape, or form.
I think we always meet people for a reason. And sometimes we try to want to fit it or make it be a certain reason, but if you just let it happen, there's always a reason for meeting people. Even
divine guidance.
Yeah, even the littlest 30-second interaction with someone could be for a reason as well. So I always find that interesting. So you've now been practicing for, I think you said 4 years,
Yep.
right? So what kind of clients would come to you? What would they be struggling with or dealing with that they'd say, I want to go to MJ because she can help me?
A few different kinds. When I do mediumship, a lot of times I find that I'm connecting with a person who's starting on their grief. They want to start moving on their journey of grieving. And I like to help with that. I understand it. I've been through it. So I see that they're ready. They want to move on. They want to see the messages. When they get the card read and I read their energy with it, there's a lot more that comes through. Most people who are coming to me realize that we're all born with this.
Right.
They're starting to unwrap their gift, and they're quite curious. And it comes out. My guides, their guides, everybody, their energy lets me know. And it's like a really cool feeling. So they're ready to work on their grief for the loss of their loved one. And they're knowing that the love is there, and then they can start to journey inward into their heart and work on themselves.
I remember reading years ago that and it was specifically about animals, that sometimes animals will die to help you. So a family dog will pass, a cat will pass, because something's going on in the family, and it's their way of saying, you know, hey, something's going on here, and I'm going to try to bring awareness to it. When somebody passes, say lose a spouse or a child or something, do you think that is somehow a catalyst for the person that's left behind to help them heal, or maybe to awaken their gifts?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I myself lost my mom, my father, and a lot of people who were like shushing me.
Yeah.
And as much as I grieved them, a part of me was free.
Wow.
To just say, there's no judgment.
Yeah, yeah. And you mentioned something about, did any of them come back to you and say, hey, we get it now kind of thing?
They have, and it's like an I'm sorry, or it's all different things. But they don't just have to pass to speak with me. When people are passing and they're in transition, what I feel is there's no ego. And when people are out of ego, they can have many different illnesses. My dad, I grew up in a house that was haunted. He died in our house. And at the end, like 2 days before he died, he's like, psh, there's a ghost in here. And I've been telling him that since I was 5. So I was like, okay, you're right, there is. So they start to see. And I think we are here on this journey to continue to learn.
Right.
But I think we continue to learn on another plane as well. From what I've heard in spirit, from what I've got messages from my family, from other mediums, the I'm sorry's, I should have believed you. So there's always a connection.
Okay. So if somebody lost someone close to them and they're struggling with that, they would come see you, and you would help them transition through the process and kind of get to the other side of grieving. Is that fair to say?
Yes, I would try. They have to, no matter what modality I use, what I'm basically trying to do is help them to help themselves. I guide them. They have to want it. They have to be in their heart space.
And I've heard other people say that they're always cautious not to keep, if somebody keeps coming back wanting to speak to the person who passed and not transition beyond that and kind of
you kind of want to switch modalities.
Don't you want to get them to kind of say, okay, they're gone, and kind of let go of that, and instead of keep coming back and trying to communicate with them over and over again? Because isn't that a sign of something that like they need to let go of? Correct.
Like if somebody says to me, I want to see you next week for a reading, I'll say no. I recommend, if they feel there's a major life change, if they really want, like, I'm going to get a new job, how's it going to go? Maybe something like that might prompt them to come back.
Right.
But just to keep talking to their loved one again, no. What I would do is say, okay, I recommend no more than 4 times a year.
Okay.
Honestly, if it's a special date, different people maybe. But I would probably offer them a different modality to help them start transitioning and healing, because they really need to go inward.
Right.
We say we're the healers, but we're not. We're just guiding people to heal themselves. That's basically what we're doing.
Okay.
Because a person can't heal unless they're willing.
So who else is coming to you? People that, obviously, that lost somebody, they want to deal with that, but also people that maybe feel they have gifts. Would they come to you to kind of...
Yes, I have a lot of those. I have a lot of teenagers, too.
You do?
Yes, they'll just walk up to me. They know what I do, and my neighbor will knock on my door, stuff like that. I love the fact that the kids are coming to me, and they just see it, and because they're so much more open. And I really want to keep them open because they're our future. Right. They're our light for the future. But yes, a lot of people, we all have it. We're all born with it. Some people say it's a gift. I don't doubt it's a gift. I'm so grateful I have mine that I've opened it. But I feel we need to teach people to open theirs. Right. To learn it's not person specified, it's a gift. It's just energetic.
Okay. So as a parent, because a lot of people don't believe in this kind of stuff. Either it's their religion or for whatever reason, they might be saying, I don't believe in that kind of thing. So as a parent of a child that has these gifts, what will the parents see that would get them to say, oh, maybe my child's gifted or a little further along in their development than they themselves are? And if they want to get, what are some of the things that they would see? Or
it's all different. Just like everything else, we're all different. So we might all experience different things. Some children, they have a lot of nightmares. They have night terrors. They're afraid of the dark. They're typical childhood things, but listen to what your child says. I'm hearing voices, and there's I'm going to give you an example. I have a 4-year-old who's very open. I do what I do, and there's times I go, "What'd you just say?" She's told me, "Mommy, we've been here before. We're not coming back again." And she's let me know we've lived other lives together, and you just listen.
Right.
That's because what comes out of their mouth is so true.
Right.
Or, what am I hearing? I'm hearing voices. I hear somebody in my head telling me that. I'm like, well, what are they saying?
Yeah.
Or I see somebody. Well, what do you see? What do they look like?
Right.
If it bothers you, what do? You can tell them, shh. It's all about empowering the person.
Okay.
With children, the parents kind of need to listen and kind of get a grip, get oh my God, and not be spooked.
Right.
So I'm not working with the children, I'm working with the family. I'm working with the parents so that they feel comfortable.
Right, that makes sense.
And how do I empower the parent to help the child? But how do I help the child be empowered, not to be afraid of what they have? So every dynamic is different, every family situation is different.
Okay, I like that. Well, because I always worry kids might be labeled as whatever on some kind of spectrum because they're displaying these traits of either hearing voices or a dream or something's going on that they're not the norm, if quote unquote. So that's good to. You're saying just listen. I like that.
Just listen. I mean, it's everything that I do comes from love. It comes from my heart. If it doesn't come from my heart, then I shouldn't be doing it. And especially with kids, if you come from your heart space, you'll get it because that's where they work from.
Right.
And get in touch with your inner child. Don't be afraid to sit on the floor with them. When I work with a child and their families, I go to their house. When I work with the animals, I go to their house. Let them feel safe. I can make a grown-up feel safe where I am.
Right.
But to make a child or an animal feel safe, you really should go where they are.
Right.
It's thinking about who your client is, what you have that will serve them best, and how can you help them start on their journey to where they want to be.
Well, I like that you said to listen, because I don't think a lot of parents listen to their children. They're busy, and they're like, okay, I'll get to you in a second, where, I've always tried to stop and listen and make sure I'm focused and, hearing what my daughter's really saying. Because sometimes they're saying one thing, but they're really saying something else, and you have to kind of listen and help them to uncover it.
And they might reach out. They might reach out in a different way. They might have behaviors. They don't understand it.
Right. So you've got to really pay attention. And like you said, come from a place of love.
I have 3 children. I have every age, every stage. My 15-year-old's a boy. Doesn't want anything to do with what I do. That's his choice. He needs to come to peace with it himself. I can't force it on him.
Right.
I have an 11-year-old who's very much indigo. She's meant to be the leader, stubborn. She's my button pusher. She's a reflection of myself as well. So when we get together, it's like, oh my gosh, she's the one I really need to listen to.
Right.
Because she's my button pusher. Not only what can I learn about her, what can I learn about myself?
Right.
Where you're able to press my buttons. And then I have the 4-year-old who's just wide open and innocent and sees the world as such a beautiful place, and I love it. She's more of a crystal, where the indigos, I feel, are here to lead the world, and the crystals are here to be the peacemakers and kind of keep the indigos in check and make sure they stay out of ego.
Debbie and I talked about this when she was on the show, because I've heard the term indigo, and I didn't know what it was. And I'd never heard the term crystal, so it's fascinating.
There's a name for everything, and it's just learning about them. And they're very similar.
Right.
With their traits of how to figure out who they are. I just feel their energy, and I feel their parents' energy.
Right.
So say you came to me for a reading, and your daughter was an indigo or crystal, somehow the guides let me know, and I can describe your child to you.
Okay.
And that's their way of trying to get me to get to the children.
Okay.
But I work with all ages. I've been a dementia specialist for a long time, worked with Alzheimer's.
Well, your background is tell me about your background, because I know you have a medical background.
I was an EMT for 25 years.
Okay.
And then I worked in the nursing homes as an activities director and Alzheimer's specialist.
And did your gifts help you in that?
It does. When somebody comes to me, they don't come to me in spirit saying, "Hi, my name is Jack." I will feel like a grandfather presence and say, "Okay, he had a heart attack." They show me a lot of stuff physically and medically. When I'm doing Reiki, I'll feel a lot of stuff medically. I'm very medically intuitive when I'm in that space, and I think that's why I chose the medical field. There's a reason. They were pushing me towards my path, and every time I veered off, they brought me back to my path. They'll always bring you to your life purpose if you listen.
Huh, interesting. I'm just thinking in my own head of my own life as you're saying that. So you mentioned about the medical, when you're giving someone Reiki, you can feel certain things in their body, whether it be something serious like cancer or...
Yes, I can, but for the most part, I'll just know, like, I can intuitively put my hands, I can stand near somebody in the room and say, "So you don't have a gallbladder," or "You're missing a pancreas," or "You've had a hysterectomy." I can feel the missing parts first. And then I'll say, "So your back hurts." If somebody's sitting in front of me for a reading and their head hurts, they've had a headache, my head will instinctively start hurting, and I'll say, "Do you have a headache?" Once they validate that, it'll go away. More often than not throughout my day, I say, "Is this Mayan?"
Yeah.
And if it's not, release it. I do a lot of spiritual, I think anybody who does this should practice spiritual hygiene, which is make sure you're keeping yourself in check.
Right.
Is it my energy? Is it their energy?
Right.
What am I doing for healings for myself? Am I still meditating? It's very important for me to stay energetically healthy.
Right.
So that I know what's mine and what someone else's.
So do you go through the day and meet people and all of a sudden pick up your elbow hurts or something?
In the middle of Walmart, yep.
Really? And you have to do your little assessment
And
of saying,
I'll just walk, you can't even tell I'm doing it, I'll just be like, "Is this mine?" If it's not, make it go away, and it goes away. And if it doesn't go away, and I find that I'm close in proximity to somebody, just like if I keep getting messages all the time and I'm in the middle of the supermarket, I don't go up to people and go, "Excuse me, your grandfather's by your side." That's just, to me, that's intrusive a little bit.
Right, right.
If you're ready, you'll come to me.
Sure.
I'm not going to bring it in. But there's times where they're like, hey, they won't no matter what I do. That, to me, is a sign this person needs a message. Same thing, I might go up to a person and go, "Whew," and I'll just say, "My knee really hurts." And they'll say, "Me too." And that's how I'll start getting them to talk about what's ailing them.
No kidding. Oh, that's pretty cool. So you've gotten creative with how to
You have to.
approach people.
I want to be more creative so people don't look at me going,
Yeah.
"Why is this lady in line talking about my knee?"
Exactly.
And freak everybody out.
Yeah.
It's a craft.
Yeah.
It's
It's
a true craft. You have to really think about everything you say, everything you do before it comes out.
Right.
So I've learned with this that a lot of it is listening, not just to my children, but to the universe.
Right.
The signs, the spirit, listening to my own body, my own intuition, and sometimes just not saying anything at all. It's about tact. It really is. It's a craft, learning when and when not.
Huh, interesting.
And again, that's intuitive, whether I do or don't.
Yeah. So do you ever tell someone that they have something serious? Like, do you ever...
I usually will say to them, "When's your next physical?" You know, I feel something that's not, I don't really feel something right. You might want to just go get checked. And for the most part, they will.
Okay.
I don't diagnose by any means, and I don't say
Right.
I can heal any disease.
Right.
The medical field is still there for a reason.
Yep.
For me, a lot of it is just guidance.
So a gentle nudge.
Yep.
Hey, you might want to go get that checked out.
Very soft, gentle.
Okay, that's interesting. I was very tempted to bring my dog on the
I
show
wish you
today, and now I'm wishing I did. He's home sleeping. But I want to know about the animals because I love animals, and so let's talk about that.
So a lot of crazy stuff has happened. How can I say this? Every now and then, something new pops up with me. And it stays with me for about a year or so and I discover it before I bring it up. The only person who ever really hears what I'm about to do or what I'm feeling is my poor husband. I rebound everything off my best friend. And
That's
it's
nice.
animals. I mean, I had dogs coming up to me and I'd be petting them and I'd be like, "Oh, so she's 10. And people would be like, "How'd you know that?" Or I'd feel energetically they had arthritis and I'd be like, "Oh, you're hurting." And I'd hear, "Well, I didn't have my medicine." And I would say, did they need their medicine? And the person would go, "Yeah, how did you know that?" And I started, once you're open, and it's all about trusting and trusting in yourself and the energy you feel, you'll feel everything. Animals share our energy.
Right.
So it's the same thing I do with humans, but it's with animals. But they're a lot less. It's just, you just want to snuggle them.
Yeah.
And I can just pet them and know, and I do offer Reiki for animals, especially sick animals. On Facebook, I have, it's called Prayer for Pets.
Oh.
Because a lot of people will call me saying, I found in the last 2 months, oh, my pet is sick, oh, my pet is dying, and it's just a lot of stuff. So I started this thing for Prayer for Pets so that you could put your animal's picture up and people could pray for their pets. When I work with pets, I work with
That's very sweet.
St. Francis. When I go to the zoo, I try to get the animals to come to me.
Yeah.
I'm very strong with water animals.
So it's a Facebook page, a prayer for
Prayers for pets.
A prayer for pets?
Prayers, just prayers.
Oh, just prayers.
Prayers
for pets. Okay, not a.
Just so people feel they're supported, because
that's really sweet.
when they come through to me to their loved ones, Sunday I did readings just for animals. They're people's babies. They're part of the family. You grieve the same way.
Yeah.
And they should be treated as such.
My Jack Russell is my wife's child. I mean, it really,
They really are.
It's another child in the family.
My Bailey is my baby. He's my youngest.
Yeah.
But we all have them. And it doesn't have to be a dog. It's a cat. It can be a bird, lizard, snakes. I was like, snakes, really? Because I thought they were cool. It doesn't matter.
Wow.
I've seen them. So it's the coolest thing. So I love working with the animals and giving them a chance.
And you said you did or do an event for animals?
I just this past Sunday did an event for through the Soul Purpose, and that's what I was offering.
Really?
Mediumship readings for people to come in and hear from their pets.
Where was that?
At the Soul Purpose
in
Swansea.
In Swansea, okay. And people brought their animals in and.
Nope, they came to hear messages from their pets that have passed. There was a lot of different things going on, but that's what I had offered.
Okay.
So and it's the same thing. It's a grieving journey.
Right.
They know they're getting validated.
Right.
The animals will validate where the person put their ashes. It's on your bureau. You've done a memorial for me. It is me sitting by your side.
Wow.
One couple, I won't mention any names.
Sure.
Their pet came through, and I said, she's telling me she's wearing your ashes, but I wear all this jewelry, and I'm like, no bracelet, no keychain. No. I said, when I do this, it means tattoo. I don't get it. They actually had some of her ashes
tattooed,
pounded down into the ink, and they were tattooed on them.
Oh my gosh.
So that brought great tears, but I mean, that's the dog validating, not me. I'm just a channel. When I do that, that's not me. That's heaven, and that's you. I'm just the phone.
That's pretty wild.
So it's amazing. I mean, the energy comes through the same way. There's no language barrier. There's nothing. It's just that knowing and just letting people heal, knowing that there's still love all around us.
Right.
Because those pets are still there.
Yeah.
I've lost my cat. Every now and then, my dog will look at the stairs in that corner where she used to sit and taunt him, and he just, and my husband's like, what's that? I'm like, it's Tiggs. It's the cat.
Yeah.
It's just teasing the dog.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things to do is work with the animals. It's the animals, the kids, it's all of it combined.
Yeah.
But the animals really do touch my heart.
Well, I got to think it's a very gentle energy, innocent, pure, no ego.
With the dog? With the animals?
With animals and.
There's really no ego, so they don't really hold the energy very long. It's kind of in and out.
Oh, okay.
With them, it stays, it does its thing. Some animals get very hyper with it. Like if they're a docile animal, they tend to get hyper. Some of them have really, like I noticed the little dogs, big energy. They think they're Great Danes.
Yeah.
And the Great Danes are like, oh, hold me. So it all depends. Like us, they have different personalities, different attitudes. Same thing. I have to pull in my energy. I tend to carry big energy. When I'm near the animals, I have to bring it in a little bit. If they're scared, once they get to know me and I open it up, they're fine with it.
That's really cool.
Again, it's knowing your energy as well
to
work with somebody else's energy.
Right. So if somebody has a sick pet, they should probably come to you?
They could.
And the pet will let you know what's going on and maybe make the diagnosis a lot easier, I would think.
Or I could say, you might want to bring them to the vet. They let me know when they can't chew.
Yep.
Stuff like that. I did one lady, I went to her house to do a potty, and her dog was pretty sick. And I was just holding the dog, and I'm messing with the dog, and I'm like, oh. I said, she brought the dog to the vet, and the dog was sick. And if the dog didn't get the med that it needed. So, I mean, I'm not saying that it would work, and I'm not always right.
Right, right.
I'm human.
Yeah. And as far as adults working with you,
They can come to me and talk to me about their gifts, how to open gifts. I teach classes on being intuitive and animals as well, both kind of together. I teach class on dreams and how to interpret your dreams and why they're important and why is that part of your soul. It's part of your unconscious. It's when I believe when we dream through our hearts, not our egos. And it's about them being willing to learn how to get into their heart space.
Okay.
And work from their heart.
Is a dream a sort of subtle little like message to you of where you, in your awake state, maybe you can't handle it, but in your dream state you can, and then?
And it gives you, like, when I was very closed up, I would have dreams, and when you dream of a house, it's your body. A house represents you.
Okay.
I kept dreaming of finding secret rooms. And it was never in the house I lived in.
Interesting.
And when I got in there was always full of stuff where I was like, ooh, treasures. And then I noticed that everything in there I've already owned sometime in my life. And I'm like, huh. And I realized as I started opening up to my intuitions and what I could do, those dreams kind of went away. They were my own gifts. I was seeing my own stuff. It was in a secret room because I was hiding in a secret room.
Right.
So now I know when I find a secret room, like recently I had a dream about 4 months ago with a secret room, and right after that the animal thing went. Phew. So that's my body's way, and I think it's the universe's way of getting me ready for what's coming next.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So I have to listen.
So your website again is?
tranquil-turtle.com.
Okay. And I assume your contact details are on there if somebody wants
They
to
are.
reach out to you, email or whatever.
Yep.
I'm going to give the email for the show. If you have any questions for the show, if you want to reach MJ, you can always reach her through the show. It is you can see it on the screen, theholisticway@hotmail.com. And if you want to reach out to me with any questions about a guest, if you have any ideas for future shows, or if you even want to come on the show, certainly send me an email and we can certainly have a conversation. We've got about 20 seconds left, so thank you for being on the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
I know you were nervous.
I'm not. I think I did pretty good. No?
You did great. It was a great show. So thank you for coming on. It was a wonderful interview.
Thank you.
And
I want to meet the dog now.
We'll have to
I need to meet the dog.
We'll have to arrange that. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Thank you for watching the show. This has been another episode of The Holistic Way. My name is Todd Hart. Have a great day.